Anthony Carey Ngarama is our guest in studio this morning. Anthony, good morning.
Morning.
Good to have you on the show. Welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Thank you very much.
Anthony, you're here with us this morning because you have a relative who is living and working in Saudi Arabia, right?
I'll correct you. It's my wife. Yes.
Who's working in Saudi Arabia.
In Saudi Arabia.
How long has she been there?
From March this year up to now, as we are talking.
So how did she how did she leave? Did she leave through an agent?
Yeah, she did go through an agent called Ruth, and she went to her office at Nanak House, near the Nation Center. Yeah.
And is she still working there, or what's the situation like now as we speak?
At the moment, as we speak, she's hosted in a hostel, and the situation is very, I don't know what to say in proper English, but is very bad, in a very bad situation.
What do you mean hosted in a hostel? Is she not working?
She's not working.
Did she ever work since she left the country?
Yeah, she did. And, she had a problem with her first house, and the agent changed her to another house. But the last one that she went, she was tortured. So before the July 10th, we had been talking for quite some time through WhatsApp. But on July 10th, it was on a Sunday, she noticed that her phone battery was about to go off. And she told me, my husband, take care of the children because I think there's something wrong, or the battery has been tampered with. And I'm about to go offline. Yeah.
That was on the 10th of July.
Yeah.
And you were speaking on phone, or was it via
WhatsApp?
Via WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Was it a voice call or was it text?
First, previously I had been talking through voice recording. And then when she noticed that the phone's battery was about to go off, she started changing to SMS. Yeah. And the last SMS was on Sunday at around 3 p.m. Yeah.
Okay. Can we take a few steps back?
Yeah.
How did you start this process? And what made you decide that she would then take up employment? And this is Saudi Arabia for where she went, right?
Yes.
What made you decide to take up the job? And then how did you go about applying and then getting the agent's reference and all of this?
First, before 2019, let's start from the introduction about myself. Around 2019, before the COVID-19, I had been working in Nairobi at a studio called Studio One. And our boss told us that his work is about to round up his work because his assets we are going down, and he has to sell off the property plus the studio. Then he paid us all the dues, despite asking him about my pension and all goes on with when you're about to leave any job. He denied all the workers the employment dues that are usually accompanied when you leave any kind of work. So when I left, I started searching for another job, and I got a placement as a security guard in Kileleshwa, whereby from then on I started working at a salary of 11,300. And at the same time, when with my wife, we talked about the issue of the salary, plus we have 3 children. And my first born is in secondary school in Form 4, and is about to finish her studies. And my wife told me, let's do this. Let me go and find a job so that I'll be able to assist you in one way or another. She searched for jobs, manual jobs, and sometimes would get about a week or 3 weeks, and then the jobs saa ingine inaisha hivyo. So she told me, there's a lady, this agent in Nairobi, and she told me there's a very good job in Saudi, and you'll be earning much, and you'll be able to be sending an amount that you'll be able to take care of the children. First, I didn't agree with the situation, depending on how I've been seeing our citizen being tortured in Saudi Arabia. But in the end, I agreed. I agreed because we had a loan of Kenya shillings 200,000 that we had taken a loan because of the children that are learning, and we don't have a proper house. We wanted to start from something so that we can be able to make a living in somehow. She went and talked to the lady called Ruth, and first I did not agree because in my heart I sensed there's something wrong with her going there. I told her to come back home. I asked her, can I go myself as a man? Can I go? But she called the same lady and asked her, can my husband go there? The agent asked her, how old is she? Is your husband? And my wife responded, now in year 2022, he's 52 years old. And the people going there, the maximum age is 41. So you can see.
So you're already
out of the
disqualified by your age.
Yes. So the lady told my wife, now I'll take care or make sure when the first salary is out, I'll send to your husband, and he'll be able to solve all the issues that have arisen from the situation that you are in. I did agree, and on March, I think the message is on your, I think it's on March 10th there. After I agreed, all the documentation was done for her by the same lady, and I went with her on the evening at around 6 when she was about to board the plane. Yeah.
To JKIA.
Yes, JKIA. When she went, I told her, please make sure your phone is always active so that I may know what's going on there. She boarded the plane, and the moment she arrived in Riyadh, she told me, the moment I'm with the employer. They went and started work for the first house. For the first house, she noticed that in that house there was no husband, but there was a lady, the woman of the house. He had three children, and all of them had this sijui hiyo ugonjwa inaitwa na gani.
What was the manifestation of this illness?
The
Dalili ya ugonjwa huu ulikuwa ni nini?
wanakuwa na tantrums. Alikuwa kuna hiyo ni definition hiyo jina najaribu kutafuta.
So one of the developmental
condition ya mind zingine.
Probably autistic.
Yeah, that's the correct word. Yeah.
So all the three
were, she was responsible of taking care of those.
And she was the only one now working in this house.
Yes. She requested our local agent to facilitate a
transfer to another employer.
Yeah. Or otherwise, she gave another lady to assist her in the job. But the employer declined.
Okay.
Later, the agent agreed, and she was transferred to another house. When she went there, she found two ladies. And those ladies were from Ethiopia. For around the first week, she noticed that the ladies were not quite responsive. Hawakuwa na mtaka.
These are fellow workers.
Yes.
In the same home.
Yeah, her colleagues, but from different countries.
Okay.
Yeah. She noticed that the ladies were not willing to work with her. And the employer, let me point for one more thing about the current employer. The employer, it's like her mama lives in Nairobi, but the employer lives in Arusha. So you can notice the distances. The employer comes once in a month. The person who's been taken care of is her mother.
Okay.
Yeah. And her mother is around 110 kg. And my wife was supposed to take care of her. Sometimes she was unable to walk alone. So she has to be lifted to a wheelchair.
And supported to walk.
Yeah, and then to the bed.
To the wheelchair, okay.
Yeah. The Ethiopian ladies were not willing to assist her in any way. And another thing.
What was the job of the other two ladies in the house?
They were assigned in the kitchen, and the other one kupanguza nyumba, hiyo job na Kiingereza.
So one is in kitchen, the other one is for cleaning.
Yeah.
And then your wife is supposed to be like the minder for the old lady.
Yes.
Okay.
When the employer went away, my wife noticed that these two ladies did not want to hear anything about her, and they started mistreating her. And usually they Ethiopian, unless they are from Tigris, they usually speak Arabic.
Okay.
Yeah. Tigris, sometimes they should speak.
So they were speaking a different language from her. They were not being friendly to her. They were not being cooperative.
Yes.
So she felt hostility from fellow workers
in
the household. And the boss is not around.
Yes, not around. And when they talked in Arabic, my wife is usually even when we were talking, she usually interpreted some of the words that you are using and told me, my husband, I don't know how I'll come out of this place because these ladies are about to do something to me. Yeah, she did understand. She hears. She's very quick in understanding languages very fast. So she heard what they were saying. And when she told the employer, the employer told her that she'll come one day randomly without the two ladies knowing. And she'll be able to find out if what she is saying is correct. And he did come one day and found one lady mishandling her mother. That's when one lady was paid her all her dues and sent back to Ethiopia.
Okay.
That's when the hell broke loose.
So one was fired, one was left.
Yeah.
And your wife as well.
Yeah, was left.
So at what point did your wife, just to speed up the story a little bit, at what point did your wife leave this homestead? Do you know whether she left this homestead? Of course she did, because you told us now she's in a hostel.
To summarize all that, first, after telling the employer, and the employer sacked the lady, this mistreatment went on. And, in Saudi Arabia, you are not supposed, as a lady, to get out of the house and go to either in a police station or at a market, because you are supposed to be accompanied with a male colleague. That's a tradition. She found out that the employer was not cooperating in situation when, with she was complaining about her salary, because when they agreed with our local agent, she was supposed to be paid 1,000 riyals, and when she went there, the amount was reduced to 900. Sorry.
Why was it supposed to reduce?
The employer said, as long as you are in my hands, there's no way your government can do anything to me.
So it was just a unilateral decision by the employer to slash the salary from the agreed amount of 1,000 to 900.
Yeah. And one more thing. The moment you what I'm trying to elaborate here is that when you are signing a contract in Kenya with their local agent, it's very good and it's very enticing. But when you reach there, it's totally different.
What becomes different?
It's good on paper.
So what you sign and what you
receive, it's very different.
Okay. We'll continue this conversation shortly, Anthony, and I think thank you very much for coming here and sharing with us what you and your family have been going through.
Yeah.
So Anthony Kerry Ngarama is with us in the studio. His wife is in Saudi Arabia. She left the country in March. She's been there, and you say you've not been able to communicate to her since when?
Since July 10th.
Since July 10th, Anthony has not been able to communicate with his wife. She went to work in Saudi Arabia. He says she went through a local agent, went there, but was able to communicate periodically. One time, she just was unable to communicate. And, of course, she had alerted you that there's something happening to her phone. and therefore she may not be able to communicate with you going forward. And since then, you've not been able to reach out to her. This is basically a highlight of the stories that we've been talking about here, the stories that are even covered in the papers. Page 7 of the Standard this morning: girls from Saudi bondage arrive home while more jobless Kenyans are flying out. It's talking about this girl, Diana Chepkemboi, who arrived from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia yesterday, had been rescued by the Kenyan embassy in Saudi Arabia, arrived in the country, and this is after a lot of social media campaign by relatives and friends who raised this issue, and it became a big issue. The government of Kenya, of course, acted through the embassy of Saudi Arabia. We've seen also communication from the principal secretary for foreign affairs, who says, yes, we've got very many other Kenyans who are working in other jobs, but this area of the domestic workers is a problematic area. We want to understand why, and we're getting the story from Anthony. Let's take a break at 8:30.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
We have Anthony Kerry and Ngarama in the studio. His wife is in Saudi Arabia. She went in March. She has not been able to communicate with him since July, and he's wondering what's happening to her. So the circumstances that led to her going, I'm going to just recap what Anthony has told us this morning, is they sat as a family and they looked at ways in which they can supplement the incomes. Anthony was working as a security guard in Nairobi. They have 3 children in school, a child who's going to be sitting their KCSE this year, others who are also in school, and they were looking at best ways in which they can get jobs. And they heard about these opportunities of people working in Saudi Arabia and being able to earn incomes. You heard about an agent, and this agent then facilitated your wife's travel to Saudi Arabia, from the application for a passport to the travel to plane tickets to getting the job and employment. Went to the first employer, did not have a good experience with the first employer, requested to be transferred to a second employer, was transferred, also not a good experience. And then since then, things have just not been going well. Since the 10th of July, as you told us, Anthony, you have not been able to reach out to your wife.
Yes.
Let's take those steps back. And I think even Citi was asking you during the break, how did you get to know of this particular agent? And number 2, you sound like somebody who is very thorough. In even all these things, you kept questioning and asking questions. Did you ask questions about the validity of the agent, about the registration status of the agent, about the official DOM of this whole process?
First, when I encountered the agent, I went to her office, and the certificate is displayed near the entrance, and I did go through it, and I found that it's duly registered. So I went on and told my wife, then proceed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did they do? What did the agent do to facilitate this travel?
She requested my wife's birth certificate, and because she was not a first timer, she had gone to another.
She had traveled before. So
yeah, before she had a passport.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other documents were ready, and then the duration was a bit shorter because she had the documents.
Okay.
That's when I agreed.
So how much did you pay? Did you pay any money upfront to the agent?
The agent requested 5,000, but I didn't know what was the amount was. The reason why
shillings.
Yeah, 5,000.
What was the 5,000 for?
I don't know for the there's a place they used to called they usually host the ladies before they depart.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are kept in a hostel here before they leave.
Yeah.
For how many days?
For around, if you are not first, you are not for you're going for the first time. Usually it takes about 1 week, and then you go.
So what happens when you're in this particular place for 1 week?
When you are in that place, you are trained in how Arabian foods look like and how they are cooked, and your behavior, how you should behave when you are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're brought up to speed on the kind of job environment that you're going into
Yes.
and what your expectations would be.
Yeah.
And this is what you pay the 5,000 for.
Yeah.
Do you pay for flights? Do you pay for anything else?
The flight is paid by the employer.
How much?
I saw the receipt reading 35,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the agreement? Is this going to be deducted from your salary?
Well, I don't know between the agent and the employer. I don't know. There, I didn't ask any question from there. Yeah.
Okay. So now, if we can go to the point where we are at now, you've not spoken to her from July 10th.
Yes.
You know that she was in the employ now of the second employer,
Yes.
but she has left. She's since left the second one
Yeah.
on the grounds that she was being mistreated, and she left.
Yeah.
So how is she living in this hostel? What details do you have in terms of where she is, and what's the plan? Trying to bring her back to Kenya, or what exactly is going on there?
We had been communicating with I've been communicating with our local agent named Ruth. At first, she was not cooperating. But when one day I did a random, nikaingia kwa ofisi without her knowing, she told me she'll take care of Jane when she's there. But before, she was not cooperating, even taking my calls all in messages that I sent to her. When I got there, that's when she gave me the Saudi agent number. That's when the first call I made to the Saudi agent. The Saudi agent told me, "Do you know something that you have not ever been told by Ruth? I'm not in Saudi. I'm in Qatar." So you can notice the difference between an agent who's not there. He cannot be able to assist you in an emergency like that. I went on and talked to Ruth without informing her about what I've talked with the agent. I told her I want to speak to another agent or somebody within the Saudi government that can facilitate me to know where my wife is. That's when I got the number with the name Carlos Hemes, who after questioning him, that's when he told me all the information that I'm about to reveal to you. He told me, your wife is sick, and I think he has been she has been molested in that house, and she cannot be able to speak by herself. And I told him, could you go there and pick her all her belongings and her salary, and find a safe place to take her. And she did that. That's when...
She went and actually saw your wife.
Yeah. He told me he has already taken her from that home and taken to a hostel, an accommodation in Riyadh. My wife has been working in Jeddah. Yeah.
So when he took her to this accommodation in Riyadh,
Yes.
whose accommodation is it? Who runs the hostel?
gentleman, because I found him very cooperative with me, unlike our local agent. He told me their accommodation is usually paid by the Saudi government, and she usually hosts the ladies or the housemaids that have been either tortured or forced, all about to be deported. And he takes care of them by give them food, and if needed, he gives them medical care.
Okay.
Yeah,
So since he brought her to this hostel,
yeah.
were you able to talk to your wife through him?
I talked to him, and I told him I'd like to have a video link so that I'm able to speak to my wife if possible. On today is on Wednesday. On Monday at around 6:45, our local agent told me about 15 minutes from now, it will be around 7 p.m. I'll be making a video call to link up with you with your wife in Saudi. And I waited for those 15 minutes, and she connected via video call. I tried to speak to my wife, and she could not even look at the camera. And when I looked at her,
This is Monday,
Monday, at around 6.
the day before yesterday,
Yes,
6 p.m.
yeah.
Okay.
I told her with my own voice, and usually when I talk to her, either in my own language, she usually listens, and usually even my face, she recognizes. But on that day, I found that she cannot even recognize my voice. She cannot even recognize my face, and she was not looking at the camera. And I told Carlos, there's something wrong with my wife, and seriously, she is sick.
Was it her? Can you be sure that the person that you were looking at on this video call was actually your wife?
Yes, completely. Yeah, I'm 100% sure it was her. I tried to talk to her in my own language, trying to
Get her attention.
to look at me so that I'm able to use enticing words so that she can able to speak to me. But one thing I noticed, because the one holding the camera is somebody else, I noticed that there's either somebody
Whispering to her.
trying to she had tried to talk, but I eventually said, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk in my. She talked in our own language, and eventually I told Carlos, is it possible for her to get a plane back to Kenya? But Carlos said he had tried, but on reaching the airport, your wife declined to board the plane. But I found that issue not.
You did not believe him.
I didn't believe him, because the ticket is supposed to be taken to the airport, and the passenger is supposed to board the plane without the ticket. Am I right?
No. No. The passenger carries the ticket.
The ticket.
You have to have the ticket on your person.
Okay.
And your passport.
And your passport.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I found out there's something fishy between our local agent and the agent on the other side, because the crucial information that I need is not relayed to me. First, I requested a medical report to be sent to me via WhatsApp. They declined. Number two, I requested a video, what do you call it?
A clip.
A clip, just a small clip of what had transpired, because there was one incident in the employer's house. He was shouting. When I made a direct call to the agent and he linked me with the employer, I had her screaming behind the phone, and I think he was either pushed away so that I cannot be able to hear her voice. That's when I raised the alarm to a local agent who was at that time telling me, ati wewe unaongea mambo isio. And I'm telling her, I'm making up some...
Following up.
Yeah. I was trying to follow up on my wife's condition, but our local agent insisted...
So your local agent insists that the story you have is
I'm
not
making
the
it up.
correct story.
Yeah, making it up.
And the local agent also insists that your wife doesn't really want to come back.
Yes.
And this is also being said by the agent on the other side in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You're telling us on Monday they made a video link.
Yeah.
Were you able to tell whether the people on the other side of the video link could hear what you were saying? Not just your wife, but could the others hear what you were saying? Was there any reaction, or is it possible that the voice was on mute? So even as you're trying to reach out to your wife, she basically is not even hearing you speaking to her.
It was set on a loudspeaker, so they were able to hear. And
but she was unresponsive to you.
Were
yeah,
the other people in the video answering you?
one named Carlos eventually talked to me after my wife declined to talk to me directly. But one thing I noticed, and it has to be highlighted, is that when the phone was in loudspeaker, I could hear some voices because he was being video taped in a closed room like this. But on the other side, the doors were closed, but I could hear voices of other people. I think there are other people in a separate room who are confined there.
Have you been able to reach out to government authorities?
Yes.
Both here and our embassy in Saudi Arabia?
Yes. First, in the first place, I went on Friday in Upper Hill, in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I was given a form that had an email address to write an email to send to the consulate, diaspora consulate. And the next email I was to send to the National Employment Authority, headquarters in Kasarani. I did go to a cyber, and the letter was through in half an hour, and all those different institutions were got a soft copy of each. I also recently, yesterday, sent to you a copy of the same.
Yeah. Have they responded?
The the diaspora responded, but told me I have to push the National Employment Authority, because it's the agency, the authority that are supposed to take care of the employees that are supposed to go to those places. Yeah.
So, at the point at which we are at right now,
Yes.
so the MFA ministry has said that you need to follow up this case through the employment agency.
Yeah.
So there's a local agent, on the Kenyan side, and then there's a local agent on the Riyadh side.
Yes.
Your wife is in another location.
At the moment, he's in a hostel in Riyadh.
She's at a hostel in Riyadh.
Yeah.
Okay. What are they saying that they can actually, this National Employment Agency, what are they actually saying they can do? Because at the end of the day, what you're saying is, I would like my wife to come home. The situation in which she's in is not good. To be able to hear the details of exactly what has happened to her, the point of her going was for her to work. Currently, she's not working and she's not in a good state. The best thing for her to do now is to come home.
Yes.
Is that where we are?
Yep.
Okay.
I went physically yesterday to the National Employment Authority, and the way they responded to my situation is worrying to many of the victims that are being tortured. Because
what did they tell you?
they told me it will take 2 weeks for my complaint to be
addressed.
lodged, and 2 weeks to me seems to be a very big.
This is the National Employment Authority.
Yeah.
You went to their offices in Kasarani.
Yeah, and one more thing, I requested the director to see all the evidence that I have on my WhatsApp, but he declined. Because the evidence that I have on my WhatsApp has all the information that I had been receiving from our local agent and on the other side of Saudi Arabia.
So when they told you, what did they say would happen within the 2 weeks?
The agent that was responsible for taking my wife to Saudi is also responsible for repatriating her back to Kenya.
Okay, that's what they told you.
Yes.
All right. And what role do they play in this process? Can they apply pressure on this agent? Can they get information from our embassy in Riyadh regarding this particular situation? What is it that they can do beyond telling you to wait for 2 weeks and telling you that the agent is the one responsible for repatriating your wife?
The National Employment Authority NEA has the authority over the agents in Kenya and how they perform their duties, even the discipline, inspection, whatever it takes, that the agents should adhere to the National Employment Authorities directive. But what I notice is that they do not do random checks on the agents. So the agents usually have what you call a free birth in making their own decisions.
Anthony, if you were to give a message as we close this interview this morning, if you were to give a message to the various authorities in government,
Yes.
what would you tell them today about what you're facing?
What I would say is that they have to put the pressure, all the hands together, because what I see, they are a bit separated in the way they perform their duties. They should pull together so that our citizens, when they get out of the country to go to either of the countries in the world, they should get a feeling that our government, our institutions are taking care of them when they're out there.
Thank you. Anthony, thank you very much for coming today and for sharing that story. We can clearly see that, of course, you're not in a good place. You don't know the condition of your wife. You say you spoke to your wife on Monday. You could see her, but she's not being responsive to you. That, of course, adds to the pressure. Wish you all the best, and we'll be here to help support in pushing for this, for action to be taken, for your wife to be rescued and to be brought back home.
Okay. I would appreciate very much.
Asante sana.
Okay.
Many have listened to this conversation this morning. Anthony Kerry and Ngarama has been reaching out, seeking the support of the National Employment Authority, of the local agents, of anybody who can help to repatriate his wife, who has been in Saudi Arabia since March, says has not been working since July. I was able to speak to her on Monday, but she was not even able to speak back to him, and he'd like to know more. The conversations continue on SpiceFM. Good morning.